is family. All that comes to mind is family. When we talk about to make it fun and how to make it grow. When we talk of everything, now family to know. Now family to know. Even as if I'm my crops that know that we die. In education, we are things. Information, we are fair. Sensitization, we number one. Family. Farmer Law, providing health care for livestock owners and their livestock.
Are you in Lagos, Ibadan, Kaduna, Niger, or Abuja? Then this is for you. Farmerlat, in conjunction with Ashoka and Kasha, present a national-wide campaign on the antimicrobial resistance and the importance of clean and safe drinking waters on farms. Yes, the dates are Niger 18th of November, Lagos 21st of November, Ibadan 23rd of November, Kaduna 25th of November, and lastly Abuja 29th of November. So pick a date and make sure you're there. See you there. Bye bye. Are you in Lagos, Ibadan, Kaduna, Niger, or Abuja? Then this is for you. Farmerlat, in conjunction with Ashoka and Kasha, present a national-wide campaign on the antimicrobial resistance and the importance of clean and safe drinking waters on farms. Yes, the dates are Niger 18th of November, Lagos 21st of November, Ibadan 23rd of November, Kaduna 25th of November, and lastly Abuja 29th of November. So pick a date and make sure you're there. See you there. Bye bye. Are you in Lagos, Ibadan, Kaduna, Niger, or Abuja? Then this is for you. Farmerlat, in conjunction with Ashoka and Kasha, present a national-wide campaign on the antimicrobial resistance and the importance of clean and safe drinking waters on farms. Yes, the dates are Niger 18th of November, Lagos 21st of November, Ibadan 23rd of November, Kaduna 25th of November, and lastly Abuja 29th of November. So pick a date and make sure you're there. See you there. Bye bye. Are you in Lagos, Ibadan, Kaduna, Niger, or Abuja? Then this is for you. Farmerlat, in conjunction with Ashoka and Kasha, present a national-wide campaign on the antimicrobial resistance and the importance of clean and safe drinking waters on farms. Yes, the dates are Niger 18th of November, Lagos 21st of November, Ibadan 23rd of November, Kaduna 25th of November, and lastly Abuja 29th of November. So pick a date and make sure you're there. See you there. Bye bye. Are you in Lagos, Ibadan, Kaduna, Niger, or Abuja? Then this is for you. Farmerlat, in conjunction with Ashoka and Kasha, present a national-wide campaign on the antimicrobial resistance and the importance of clean and safe drinking waters on farms. Yes, the dates are Niger 18th of November, Lagos 21st of November, Ibadan 23rd of November, Kaduna 25th of November, and lastly Abuja 29th of November. So pick a date and make sure you're there. See you there. Bye bye.
When we talk of fishes and how to make them healthy. When we talk of ducks and pets all around and how to make them happy. All that comes to play is family. All that comes to mind is family. When we talk about to make a fun and how to make it grow. When we talk of everything, now family to know. Now family to know. Even as a family. My crops that know that we die. In education, we are things. Information, we are fast. Sensitization, we number one. Family. Farmer.
All right, so it's a pleasant afternoon, and I'm super excited to be here this wonderful afternoon on Veterinary Spotlight. My name is Dr. Kayode. I work with Farmalat excitedly, and then we play a heavy role in the veterinary community in Nigeria. And one of our core ideas in Farmalat is to ensure that we put emphasis on what needs to be emphasized, right? There's a lot of our good that is not yet publicized. And from our numerous interactions, we know that it is people that make places, right? So places don't make people, it's people that make places. So on Veterinary Spotlight, we like to pay attention to people who are making places, who are making things happen. And on our big show today, it's somebody who I've known for 20 years, maybe roughly 20 years. That's a long time, right? We were in school together, and he was a very senior colleague of ours, and somebody we were looking up to when we were all students then. Of course, he graduated way before us, but I was one of those lucky people that met him while he was still in school, and his life has been a phenomenal success that we all hope to live up to one day. And as a senior colleague, he has blazed the trail in a lot of things, and
took of fishes and how to make them healthy. When we took some ducks and pets all around and how to make them happy. All that comes to play is family. All that comes to mind is family. When we talk about to make a fun and how to make it grow. When we talk of everything, now family to know. Now family to know. Even as a farmer, my crops them know that we die. In education, we are big. Information, we are bad. Sensitization, we number one. Farmer Law, providing health care for livestock owners and their livestock.
All right, so let me apologize for the little break in transmission, but finally I'm back. I had a few technical issues, and then thank you back end for covering up. So as I was talking initially, I said we have somebody really inspirational, and he has been a vet for a long time and has played a huge role in the veterinary community. First, as a private person working for a private organization, but who has led a lot of innovative ideas. But more importantly, he has made quite a lot of young veterinarians better. Last year or last 2 years, he was voted in as the chairman of Nvma Oyo, and we saw phenomenal things. Sometimes we want to say, when I grow up, I want to be like you, right? He turned
But where is but
All right, so for some reason they said my audio was bad, but it's been rectified. So I said a few days ago during the national convention for Nvma, we had a very tough election. There were 3 candidates that were all qualified to lead the association. By the way, the association comprises of all veterinarians across the country, 10,000 of them. Well, for some of us who have families, we know how difficult it is to lead one person to. So now we're talking about leading, let's say, 5, 6, 7,000 of professionals. Then you know you must have the guts. But he took the challenge headlong, and then today we are here to know him, know what he wants to do as a leader, and we will ask him a few questions here or there. Let me have the pleasure, if you will, back end of bringing up stage Dr. Moses Arokoyo. Fantastic. Sir, when I grow up, I want to be like you. Welcome. Thank you so much for availing yourself to today's Spotlight event.
Thank you
Well,
for
as a way
having
of
me.
introduction, when people, this is not an interview, it's not meant to be an interview, it's meant to be more like an interaction, right? So, but when we go for interview, the first question they ask us is, can we meet you? Right. So within the next 2, 3 minutes, we want to meet you. Unfortunately, a few set of people didn't know you when you were campaigning. And so people will ask, who is this Dr. Moses Arokoyo? I say, you can imagine. Some people don't know. But for us, you've been like a long-time friend and a long-time mentor, and we know you very well. So for the purpose of our audience, can we meet you? Who are you and what do you represent?
Okay, thank you very much for doing this and for having me. I want to say good afternoon to our audience, to everyone that is listening in. Thank you for this privilege. My name is Moses, Dr. Moses Arokoyo. I'm a graduate of veterinary medicine from the University of, from the Ahmadu Bello University, that is in Zaria. I'm also an alumnus of Obafemi Awolowo University, where I did have my MBA. I've been fortunate to also have a stint with Franklin Covey Institute as per leadership, trying to fine tune my leadership skills out of the city and guilds of London. I also am certified in leadership. And like I said during the campaign, I'm a two-time award winner, Green Star Award winner with Sanofi out of France. I'm also an alumnus of the poetry department of the University of Georgia, USA, and also privileged to have uh, gotten some certifications out of Spain, out of France, out of Amsterdam, and the likes of them in poetry, um, science, as it were. So this is who I am. I'm married. I have 2 kids. I'm a veterinarian, like every other veterinarian in the country. What do I represent? Impact. For me, life is all about impact. Um, Life for me doesn't look like what is worth it if you are not impacting the next man to you. You must add value. You must add something. I mean, you can't be so fulfilled. You can't live life entirely to yourself and find fulfillment. This is my perspective. I believe we should influence and impact positively the next man. So for me, it's a great honor and a privilege to do this at a national scale for the veterinary community. When I became the Nvma chairman of your state, someone asked a question on an interview similar to this. He said, what does this mean for you? What will you do? I said, for me, what it means is what I do in private will become known in public. What I do quietly in my private life, this position will make me to do it, and in doing it, people get to know that I'm doing X, Y, Z. So it's not really about self-aggrandizement. It's not about doing something for self-glory. For me, life, like I said, is contribution, is impact, making the next man happy. I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Right. So amazing. You ended up by saying that what you do in private, you also want to do that in public. An amazing quote. Uh, so I want to be very honest with you, sir. I don't envy you that much in this position, and for a few reasons, right? So the association is non-voluntary. I'm not aware if salary is being paid. And then I was in a conversation. Somebody said that leading an association is a thankless job. You have a good life, you work for a good company, and you see nobody will see you and think you're suffering, right? In code. So you're doing pretty very well. You're paid, you're shuffled, you have a car, you're married, you're just living a comfortable life. At the end of the day, most often some of these jobs comes with a lot of cross that you have to carry. Right. And so if you have a chance to not come out, will you take that chance?
If I have the chance, I will take it a second time. Like I said, in part, and I mean every word of it. Change is a personal decision, and change tends to be resisted. Change, they say, is the most constant thing in life. And when there is an opportunity to change things on a large scale, I think we should take it. I think that if you are aiming to do something that impacts a community and you find yourself within the sphere that is, in quotes, limited, and you really want to impact lives, and you are doing that, and there is a larger platform for you to scale up that impact, I think you should take it. So this is exactly what I'm doing. I am taking that opportunity to impact, to upscale that little that I'm doing for the veterinary community. I'm going to try with the cooperation of every veterinarian. I'm going to try to upscale that which I have done. I've been a two-time secretary of Oyo State. That's 8 years. Two-time secretary, and then I've been one-time chairman. That's 9 years of leadership at Nvma. I think I know some, I don't want to say all of the problems we are facing. We have tried at our level in Oyo State to profile certain levels of solution. I think I can upscale that nationally. And with the cooperation of all, no man is an island. With ideas coming from everybody, we can do it. We can make a national impact. Yeah.
All right, so I asked that question because I know you have spent like maybe a week in office. Some people, when they spent a week, what their eyes have not seen before, they see you within 1 week, then they want to go back. So I wanted to just be sure whether you have seen enough to want to go back. But again, I'm happy. The energy you are still having is the energy you had during your campaign period, and we can only pray that this continues. And of course, despite we will not be on stage, but you can always count on us at the backstage to give you moral support. But this is really very interesting. I want to just go into a few specific questions.
Okay.
I'm a young vet, although a few senior colleagues usually say I should not say I'm a young vet. So 15 years in practice is still really very young. But we have people who are 1, 2 years in practice. And I talk to them. They really, and I was that way too. Maybe now, maybe not in the scale I was before. We've lost hope in leadership most often. Some young vets think leadership betray us. And one of the things you said, I watched you during your manifesto, that you are here to give, not to come and take. How do we trust those comments? Because we've seen people who come in, they say they have come to give, yet we see them taking and taking enough until there's really nothing we can do. A lot of young vets are discouraged. Why should we believe that you are here to give and not to take more of the commonwealth that we have?
Yeah, I like your last word, commonwealth. It is commonwealth, and for commonwealth there should be accountability. Why should the community believe I'm here to give and not to take? They should take a dive into what we have done in the last 2 years in Oyo State. They should try to X-ray and to check what we have done, I mean, with due respect, what we met and where we left the association when we stepped aside. We came to give. I came to provide a leadership that gives, and that is exactly what we did. We focused on employment. We did something about that. We focused on the younger generation. We did something about that. You know, we focused on welfare. We tried to do something about that. We focused on collaboration with the government. We did something about that. We focused on rebranding the Nvma. We did something about that. You know, in the beginning, it was about, okay, maybe we want an opportunity to speak with the media. We want to showcase ourselves, be out there. By the time the tenure was going to an end, we were called to almost every station. I mean, it got to a time it was no longer about me, and that is how leadership should be. In the last 3 months, 3 months to the end of my tenure, I mean, everybody was going to the radio station, whether you were an ESCO or you were not an ESCO. People were going to render interview. A sense of belonging had been created. And that is what leadership is all about. Everything should not be centered around you as a leader. You build people, you build capacity, you empower people, and then you step back and you let the people do it. If people don't own something, they will not give their best to it. You know, it's like you employ someone and then you try to teach him what to do. That you are cheating yourself. You employ somebody who is smart, and then you are telling him what to do. You are micromanaging the person. Then why were you paying in the first place? So this, for me, is the way to go. We came determined to do these 5 things, and by the grace of God, we achieved the 5. And so, if people say, "Hope this will be different," yes, they can. I mean, today is the beginning. Now I'm saying this thing in the public space. Maybe I began to say them during the manifesto, but I mean, this is recorded. So people can afford to store this record, and in 1-2 years down the line, they can go back to check what are the things this fellow was saying. Has he done them? Has he, rather, was it about self-aggrandizement? It's not going to be that. I can tell that. How much did we use? How much was spent in the office of the chairman? Maybe zero kobo, maybe zero point 0.1. I mean, to not be exaggerative, maybe 1%. We came to give. I came to give, and this is what I've come to do here also. I have come to give. Yeah.
Dr. Moses, I think we'll just take you by your word. And one of the reasons why meetings like this are important is because so that we can have records. And after your 2 years, we want to see that some of us supported you and supported you wholeheartedly. We want to see that you've actually made the difference that you promised. Now, on a more deeper level, one of the things I've realized is that people want position without, first of all, understanding the problem. The veterinary community is small. And the reason why I said it's small is because we're just slightly below 11,000, maybe averagely 10,000. Half of that might not be practicing or might be in public service. So for a community with just about 10,000 people, impacting 200 million lives, because everybody eats protein, the responsibility is huge. So if you have 10,000 vets in a community where we have 200 million people, the first thing that will come to mind is that, well, the vets are not even enough. But the opposite is the case. Vets are jobless. Vets, some cannot even make ends meet. Some cannot pay their accommodation. What do you think is the problem of the veterinary community in Nigeria? Because, sometimes you get attached to a leader that understands the problem. I don't get a sense of view that you understand what our problems are. Then we can now start moving into what solution you think you're going to lead to help us resolve it. What's our problem? My wife will say, Biko, what's our problem, sir?
Okay, so what's our problem? First is the fact that we are not visible. We are not visible. We are over 10,000, like you said, heading for 11,000. we are not visible. You know, we are not visible, not necessarily talking in the physical visibility, although it's part of it anyway, but we don't have a voice. And I give you an example. Take, for instance, there's an outbreak of a disease that is zoonotic, maybe Lassa fever, maybe anthrax, like we had recently. How visible are we with regards to that? I mean, is the veterinary community speaking to that issue? Is our voice being heard? Are we taking the bull by the horns? Are we trying to be in the front of what is going on that relates to our profession? So for me, one of the first things to do is to create that visibility, to do a rebrand. I mean, we are in a place where we say 60% of the disease affecting humans, 70%, if you like, of emerging disease or re-emerging is from animal health. So how can we not be visible? I mean, how can there be one health? How does a committee get set up by the government and a vet is missing if 75% of the disease is coming from animal? How does anybody think he can solve the problem that has to do with zoonosis and then not put a vet on that committee? It's not going to work. It's simply not going to work. So when I say visibility is part of the challenge, this is what I mean. Our voice needs to be heard the more. We need to assert ourselves, permit me to use the word. We need to be assertive on our own turf because we know these diseases, we understand it better, and we need to do that. We are the bridge between the animals and the humans. We need to let the people know that. We need to sing that song until the government hears it, until the people that we live with hear this. Some people don't really know. Okay, you are a vet. What do you do? You know. So for me, visibility, it's a big issue that we have. And then maybe secondly, that self-esteem as a veterinarian, that self-acceptance, which is something we need to work from our schools. You know, I told the AVMS people in Ibadan, I told them, if you know any group of veterinarians who think a vet is not worth it or they don't have this sense of belonging, please help me. I'm put myself with them in the same room. Give me 20 minutes. By the time they are out, I'm very sure they'll like to press on in veterinary medicine. I know proper self-esteem is where it begins. If you don't accept yourself, if you don't believe in yourself, I mean, you don't even begin to talk about what you can do for a society. We need to be our own PRO. This is the summary of what I'm saying. If you cannot talk about yourself, you can't blow your trumpet, how do you expect somebody else to do it for you? So we need to improve. There are several other things to do, but I think visibility, self-acceptance, proper self-esteem is where it all begins.
Dr. Moses, I cannot I cannot agree with you less, right? You know, you go to a conference of, and pardon me that I'm using this as an example, you go to conference of lawyers and you see everybody suited up. And sometimes you come to our association state meeting and you see someone who wears sandals. So, you know, there are people you will see, you will not give your money. And let me share a funny story. When I started, after my service, I started a clinic. And then I used planks that were not properly sold as shelves. And people were afraid to bring big money to me. Fortunately, something just told me that is the way I'm dressed. That's why I'm addressed. So I did a good job, and I got a few margin rather than put it in probably the drugs that we sell. I did a very fine shelf and painted the place. Our revenue doubled. As you said, we need to have very critical self-esteem as vets. See ourselves as successful, ensure we have visibility, and the sky is just our beginning.
Let me cut you, Femi. You see, when I became the state chairman for your, one of the things I immediately did was I sat down. I told myself, okay, fine, we're meeting here in Mokola Hospital. I mean, it's part of it. Self-esteem, self-acceptance. The way you position yourself, like you said, the way you dress is the way you will be addressed. The first thing I did was, okay, do we need to meet every month? No. Do we need to meet every quarter? Yes, maybe. We need to meet bi-monthly? Fantastic. So what I did was, okay, so in a year, how many times do we meet? 4 times, 5 times, give room for emergency meetings if there are issues. And then I went out. I will not meet here anymore. I want to meet in the conference hall of hotels. And I selected 3 hotels in Ibadan. I did my homework. I got people to partner with me, and I moved the meeting. We never met in Mokola throughout my tenure as the president, as the chairman of Nvma or your state. We were meeting. The numbers increased. I remember the first meeting was in Premier Hotel. We got in there, and a colleague of ours was sharing this, that this is so fantastic. This is so everything. You know, that when she came in, she was like, "Where's the meeting?" They said, "That's the meeting place." She got it, was like, "Is a wedding taking place here?" She went back. They said, "Yes, that is the place." She came in twice. She went back. She couldn't believe it. She was sharing this live during the meeting, you know, during the AOP. That I feel so proud as a veterinarian. Some people thought that maybe it was a fluke, you know, it just, okay, we do this, then we go back. No, we did that throughout 2 years of my tenure. And in
Wow.
closing, we renovated the conference room of the veterinary of Mokola conference room upstairs in Mokola, because the way we see ourselves is the way people will see us. If we don't create that environment, if we don't make ourselves look like a people heading somewhere, nobody
Yeah.
will think we are headed anywhere. If you don't look like somebody, I mean, they say our talk walks, our walk talks, but our walk talks more than our talk walks. It's not about the talking, it's the walking. We must walk the talk. It's not enough to talk, we walk it, because our walk talks more than our talk walks. And this is what I am trusting that God will help me to do. We must rebrand. We must
Yeah.
rebrand. It's important. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Moses, I'm glad you mentioned this. Our self-esteem, the way we comport ourselves, the way we even have meetings, where we have meetings. You know, I was sharing a story. When I painted, I usually have a staff that wears bedroom slippers to work then, a few years ago, 10, 11 years ago. The moment we changed the shelf to glass and we now painted the small clinic then, I noticed that by Monday she wore a cover shoe and she dressed like she was going to the bank.
Exactly.
If you don't, if you beat yourself low, people will buy you for 10 cover, right? Thank you, Dr. Moses. We're counting on you to help us work on professional esteem. We need to be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with Nigerian Bar Association. We need to be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with people who we think are high up there, not because we want to show, but because we are also high up there. All right, so people, when they come into the office, they have 7-point agenda, 2-point agenda, 11-point agenda, 13-point agenda. Some come genderless, right? But I'm not sure which category you fall into, but which gender are you? And I understand you're male, but what is your agenda? And
Okay,
please, before you
so
answer that, I want to say that it's a public space. You can drop your comments, drop your questions. I'm just going to be asking the questions that I have written for another 15 minutes. The next 15 minutes, I'll be picking up questions from the chat. Feel free, ask him very difficult questions, ask him simple questions. Let's code. You know, one of the things I love about him is that so he's not too young, but he's also not too old, right? You can paint for an elderly vet. They said respect is reciprocal. You dare not ask a senior colleague question that will throw him off balance. I want us for once to change the game. He's our leader. We elected him. And by the way, when he won, somebody carried him up on his shoulder. So it means that we love the victory, but we will also shoulder the responsibility of his failure. This is the time to hold him accountable. So don't mix what. ask direct question and let's do it the way it ought to be. Right? So you can drop your questions and I will be picking them up. So, sir, gender, genderless, what is your agenda?
Okay, so for me, it's the mission is clear, to put tangible, positive progress. I mean, in the veterinary space, and then give the upcoming generation a sense of belonging. And around this, we begin to look at, like I say, rebranding. We'll look at that visibility. We need to create that visibility for the profession. We will do that. We'll link up. We'll make sure our voice is there out there. When it comes to national issues, we'll do our best, to take that position where we are supposed to be at relates to issues that relates to our profession. As for me, rebranding, visibility is very important. Then we would collaborate. It's a lot to do with the government of the day. The president have rightfully declared a state of emergency with regards to food security. What we would do is to ride on that, to collaborate. The veterinary teaching hospital bill has been there. We'll do our best to join the council to push. We would also support and push together with other stakeholders on the need to have the primary animal health centers across the country. This is very, very important. With what Mr. President has done, I think it will be very pertinent to also raise the issue of grants for our people, whether practicing veterinarians, whether students. I mean, it all begins in school. If these younger ones in school are given the opportunity for scholarship, for further education out of the country, it will be fantastic. At our own levels, we are already doing that. We have a couple of students doing their service 1 year with multinational companies. We would push more to see how we can expand it. So those kind of collaborations is part of what we would do as part of our agenda. We'll collaborate a lot. Then PPP, public-private partnership, is very, very important. We've done it in Oyo State. We've pushed, we've supported. We've had our colleague who is very tech-savvy put something on the table, and Nvma was the go-between him and the government, and that came to see the light of day, employing quite a number of persons. We will scale that up. We would see how PPP can help us create more employment. We have relationships with certain organizations like FAO. We would build on this and try to see what will work for our people in terms of a win-win situation. Quackery is part of the reasons why some of our colleagues have not gotten to where they ought to in their businesses in terms of private fellows. We would join force with the people on the ground to make sure that the issue of quackery is not allowed to fester as it is today. And so part of the things I'm going to do together with my ESCOs, who, as we speak, have spent the last 1 week and another 1 week more. We are all brainstorming. We are all putting our ideas together, all the things we said during manifesto, and more ideas we are trusting for. We are over last week, this week, we are putting all of this together because summarily we are going to put forward before us a blueprint with which to run. This is the first assignment we have given ourselves. So one of the things I'm going to do is to set up representative from the 6 geopolitical zones as far as the issue of quackery is concerned. These fellows are going to be like an expert committee advisory to the leadership. They are going to be the voice in the 6 geopolitical zone, working with the DVSs, guiding every one of us accordingly, and then taking the forefront, as it were, as it relates to the issue of quackery. We are not going to sit down and allow quackery to continue to go the way it is going. We are going to fight that, doing our best. I believe strongly that we need to have a secretariat of our own. The Nvma has come of age, and we recently were told by one of our elder statesmen that Nvma is 60 years. How does a 60-year-old child not have a place to stay, a roof over his head? So we are going to make that also part of the priorities of the things we are going to look into. We're going to trust our elder people will help us. We're going to leverage on the network that we have and find a way that we're going to have a secretariat of our own. The welfare of our members are very key. We began talks and we would take it deeper with microfinance banks to see what is possible for welfare package, what do they have to offer. We'll look at this, and in line with that, this controversial issue of dues. I'll tell you what I have in mind, which I'm going to put before my ESCOs, trusting that we would reach an alignment. But we will not take any decision until the voice of every state is heard. So one of the things we'll do very quickly in the first quarter of next year is to call a meeting of all Nvma chairmen and secretaries across the country. And together we're going to take a decision. There is something in my mind, but again, it's not about me. It's about what we all decide together. But the issue of our dues is very paramount. We're going to end the trajectory. We're going to end what it is looking like right now. We're over 10,000 of us. We are so poor as an association. I'm going to change that by the grace of God. I would have a meeting involving all state chairmen and secretary in the first quarter of next year. We are going to change that trend. I have something, like I said, in my mind to do, but again, it's not about me. It's about every one of us. I believe the state chairmen and secretaries are the voices of their people. So they will come with your voice, and together we'll reach a very definite agreement as regards to the issue of dues. We should be richer than this, at least as an association. For my younger colleagues in the making in school, we would up what we can, and what we have done, we will scale it across the country. We'll look at the issue of indigent students, the less privileged students in school. We definitely are going to do something about that. And like I said, with the voice of the president saying what he said most recently, a couple of months back, we'll ride on that and see what is possible for our students in the light of that, because it all begins in school. One of the things I trust to do also is our faculties. I mean, there's nothing wrong in having a system whereby our students, before they graduate, have some kind of mentorship, whether by bringing up very skilled and respected professionals, experts in certain field, to do some lecture with them. I did that in 2018. I brought someone from France who we took to ABU and to UI, to do some kind of interaction over 4 days in between UI and Ahmadu Bello University. We'll try to do something more in that regard. We'll try to also collaborate with the council to see how the issue of internship can come to the fore. But before then, we would try to do, we'll engage our students before they graduate, and whatever it is we have been doing with the student body, would try to upscale that and do something more. But like I said, we would work with the faculties of veterinary medicine across the country. There's a lot of synergy now in Oyo State, courtesy the last 2 years between the town and the gown. We'd like to see that fly across the country, where the academia is interacting with the people outside the environment. I think a lot of synergy and something very impactful can come out of that. So we would push on that front also. So if we say, what is my agenda revolves around our faculties to try to see how we can be better, PPP, quackery, our secretariat, welfare, the younger generation, collaboration, visibility. So that is summarily what my agenda looks like. And I'm sure some of us have heard the interview already with FRCN some days ago. This is how we want to make sure we are part. We are not going to be in the dark. Whatever we do, we throw it out there for people to know what we are doing. And I am not going to be afraid of failure. I have a philosophy in my life. I tell God, if I'm going to fall from a ladder, let me fall early so that I can pick myself up and still have time to continue climbing. I am somebody who have the spirit of a finisher. I don't start what I cannot finish. I take my time to evaluate and I begin, but I don't give up. I'm a very persistent fellow. So I'm going to trust that I'm not going to be afraid of failure. I'm not going to be afraid of trying anything new. I'm not going to be afraid of trying, because I'm not the one really sitting on this seat. You are sitting on this seat through me. And so I welcome ideas. I've said what I have in mind, maybe not exhaustive. Please feel free to send your own ideas. I am not the president, in quotes. You are the president through me. So it's about you. It's not about me. I have what I think but there is something you feel, you have a dream. There is that Nvma. There is a picture in your mind. Please come run as president through me. Thank you.
So that's very encouraging. I love the way you ended the talk that we are the president, right?
Yes, we are all the president.
Uh,
There's no finger pointing. You want to see something get done, take your phone, take your WhatsApp, send a message. We are here because you elected us. So whatever you think we don't know, because we don't know it all. Whatever you think we don't know, please send a message. Tell us, President, you can do better. You can do this. Don't forget that. Come run the presidency office through me.
So that's very encouraging, and that gives us this very good goods bomb that we have somebody who will serve, not somebody who will embezzle. There are quite a handful of questions. I will start with one. Let me bring this up to the stage. Quite lengthy, but let's address that from Dr. Back end. I'm not sure if I can bring up comment on stage, but I'll read that. Abubakar Alaji Umar. He said, "My able president, Dr. Moses Arokoyo, sir, congratulations once again. I'm very sure that you will deliver as expected." Yeah, so quite a handful of people are very positive that you will deliver. Right. However, I will use this humble opportunity to draw your attention or suggest that you kindly find a way of encouraging all DVSA state chairmen and deans of faculty. So let me paraphrase the question because I also understand the community. We are just apart, and I will make it slightly broad. Sometimes, I'm part of the veterinary council. The veterinary, the veterinary council could be working apart with the Ministry of Agri, all working apart with state DVSEs, all work like there was a time everybody was working apart. The association was working apart, like differently from what the council wanted, differently from what the ministry wanted, and nothing has really made us this small than to see in-house fighting. And one of the things you said in your manifesto, quite a handful of people caught a few things from your manifesto. I caught this one also, that you will not run camps. Off my head, I'm trying to imagine how you will do that. Because there's good, bad, and there's ugly. Now, nobody's saying one is good, nobody's saying one is bad, nobody's saying one is ugly. But you will always find a combination of that. And then to now say that everybody will work together. There's a movie, long time movie. I don't know if we all remember, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Well, for those who remember that movie, how will you ensure that we all work together? This person is asking for the state chairman, asking for DVSs, asking for dean. We have the council, you are leading the association, and we have the federal ministry. For me, it's slightly difficult, but how will you not ever run camps?
Well, let me say this. I am not going to run camps. I am determined not to run camps. I know that if nobody is perfect, if we decide to go on a fault-finding mission, we will spend 2 years doing that and achieve nothing. If we want to go finger pointing, we would spend 2 years doing that and achieve nothing. That is not to say that we will not study what we meet on ground, or we will not check and evaluate what we meet on ground. That is not to say that we will turn our eyes the other way when we see evil and say it is good. That is not to say that. But I'm going to be focused with my team. I'm going to encourage a lot of focus on what we have come to do. We are not going to run camps. I say, and I say it again, I am not even going to permit. You cannot stop me from talking to X person because he's not on terms with Y person. I will go to every single one person I know this association has a need of. If I see something in X person and I think the association has a need of that, I will go to X person, come do this for the association. If I see something in Z person and I think the association, I will go meet Z person, come do this for the association. I make bold to say nobody is going to get me not to relate with any person because he or she does not like the person. It's not going to happen because I am not here for myself. I'm here for the association. And so there is this segment of the association that probably likes this person and don't like that person. So what am I supposed to do with the people these other persons don't like or the people these persons like? So it is my duty, it is my job to make sure I do not fall into camps. I came determined not to fall into camp. And by the grace of God, it's not going to happen. I'm going to continue to sing it loud and clear to my fellow ESCOs. We are not here for camping. We will take from every single person who has something to contribute, whether in leadership position in the time past, whether not in leadership. We will look at the good in everybody. We'll take it. Because at the end of the day, all the people who are leading us or have led us, all the people who some of us don't like, some of us like them, summarily, some of these people are making impact outside of this country. Summarily, some of them are taking the good they have outside of this country, doing nothing for the association because X person is in charge. Now, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to work that way. And we simply are not going to permit it. Our DVSs are very important. I remember I called a DVS. He was like, why are you calling me? I said, I'm calling you because you are very important. I respect your position. I respect what you are contributing. He said, you don't mean it. I said, sir, you are the #1 vet in your state. If anything is going to happen, it must pass through you. You are a big voice. You are a voice to note in your state. And he felt very, very pleased and respected. This DVS is from the north. This is how we are going to respect our DVSs. We will carry them along. And like I've said before you asked the question, I'm going to be calling a meeting in the first quarter, God keeping us, of 2024, of all state chairmen and secretaries. If God grants us the grace, we would also involve the DVSs. But trust me, we're going to have a meeting, either joint with them or a separate meeting with the DVSs. There's a lot going on that our DVSs can help us. We're going to run an all-inclusive leadership. Everybody is a part of this leadership. The deans of the faculty, I mean, time will fail me. If I start to mention names of some of our deans and what they are doing outside of this country, how they are contributing, papers they are writing, I mean, scientifically blessed minds. What are we gaining from them? Because A is fighting Z. I mean, it's simply going to have to stop. We're either in or we are not in. But we are going to make sure every single person is given an opportunity to contribute.
Dr. Moses, I'm super happy. And for me, it's just simply prayers that you're able to pull everybody together. I want to ask you, someone from Collins, he said, congratulations, Dr. Moses, for a successful national Nvma. He said the state are supposed to be very effective. Please, like Nvma Kaduna, that they've not had Congress for 5 years. I cannot believe that. So I think individual states makes up the national body. We have some extremely very vibrant states who pay their annual dues, in fact, ahead. And we have some states who don't even know where to find the last annual dues they paid. And somebody saying for state like Kaduna, for 5 years, I just want to be sure that you're sure of what you're saying. That's very difficult to believe. But if a state hasn't had Congress for 5 years, then that's really very sobering. So, but what are you going to do to revitalize the state chapters so that your work at the national body will be slightly easy to carry on? Because, of course, if you have very good foot soldiers, the work becomes slightly very easy.
Okay, so I will tell you what I'm going to do. Immediately after this meeting, I know the persons to call in Kaduna. I need to verify what has been said, that there have been no Congress, no meetings in Kaduna for 5 years. The first thing to do is to find out why. and I know the two persons to call. One of them includes the DVS. I'm going to call them stakeholders in Kaduna and find out why exactly that is not happening. And I am going to encourage that this happens. And of course, that means some commitment from my own side. Whatever it is, we'll find a way around it. How am I going to make sure the states are going to be vibrant? I can also tell you that probably in the first week of next month, I'm going to be in the north. I'm going to be in a couple of states in the first week, all things being equal, in December. That is me already working. I live here in the southwest, summarily, and it's not going to be a Western. I'm not going to be a West president. All everything we no. My first point of call, first week in December, will be in the north. I'm going to be in a couple of places in the north, join their meeting, be in their meeting, and do a couple of. I'm not saying it because you asked. I'm saying that is already in progress already. That is already in the works. I'm already talking with the state chairman involved. We've already chosen a date. So it's not that I'm going to go and plan after this meeting. It is already being planned. And this is how we are going to work. We must make sure our state chapters wake up. If the work gets simplified at the level of the states, collectively, it becomes easier at the top. So this is how we are going to work.
Thank you so much, Dr. Moses. I see that people really picked up the word no camp. Some of us are already inside. We cannot decamp, right? But
I will bring you out of the camp first.
It's difficult to decamp, and we have talked to our camp, right? But it's so suiting to see that you're not going to run camps. It means that you're going to be performance driven, and if it's working, it's working. You will not, because you're part of one camp or not part of another camp, to destroy what's working in the name of you don't like this person, and that will really, really bring progress. We're running slightly out of time, but I still have a few questions. Somebody is asking, and I want to specifically ask this question. Say, Mr. President, sir, good afternoon. What are your plans concerning the poor working conditions for younger vets in the private sector? Now, let me add a little color. If you are with young vets thinks older vets are the problem of this profession. If you're with older vets think young vets are the problem of this profession, right? The older vets complain bitterly, the younger vets complain bitterly. I've never been in any meeting of those duo and they say that they are the problem, right? So first of all, who is the problem, younger vets or older vets? Then more importantly, how do we improve the condition of younger vets? Please go ahead, Dr. Moses.
Okay, so the association is here because the elder vets labored for it. We have an association today because they were once young, they labored for the association, today they are elderly. And so the association will be here tomorrow because of the younger veterinarians. So there needs to be a synergy. We cannot point fingers, like I said. We must respect what the elder ones have done. And then the elder ones must respect and identify with the fact that the younger ones are the people who we took over from them. So if the younger, older veterinarian feel, oh, no, I don't like what these guys are doing, and he walks off, tomorrow he will have no moral right or courage to turn around to say the profession is being bastardized. You did not transfer your knowledge to anybody. And this is very important. The elder vet should please transfer knowledge, transfer experience. It is very important because there will be no association tomorrow if the younger veterinarians do not come up and occupy your place or step into your shoes. It is very, very important. So there must be synergy. I don't see the fault coming. I think both of us, young, old, need to wake up. We need to do the needful. The younger veterinarians need to accord the elder ones the necessary regard, respect, knowing that they have the experience. You may have more knowledge, recent knowledge, but the experience cannot be bought from the market. So we need our elder vets. It's like writing a paper and you want to submit the paper, and in your mind, you feel everything is so perfect. Then you give it to an elder vet to read, and in 1 minute, the guy just looks at you and say, you see this statement you put here contradicts the one that you are bringing up in the next paragraph. That is coming from experience. And so we must respect ourselves like this. We must honor experience and age. And then the older must know that the younger is coming to continue. I mean, how will you feel? You build a house made of gold, you invest in it, you fill it up, and then you pass on tomorrow, and the younger vet who does not know how you labored, and he just come and squander everything. In your grave, you won't sleep well, you will be turning. But the truth is, did you guide accordingly? Did you do the needful? In Abuja, they are celebrating Dr. Amina yesterday, and I joined them in celebrating. This lady are bad for, come tops with very good grade out of the University of Liverpool. But one of our elder statesmen provided the springboard for her in the beginning to work with him and garner experience. And this is what we are talking about. What I will do to make the working conditions better. As I speak to you now, one of our elder statesmen have promised that if there are any veterinarians, any vet rather, who wants to come work with him, he's ready to employ such a person right away. If the person probably is working in a pharmacy, I mean a human pharmacy now, or yeah, and he wants to leave that and come into something veterinary. And we spoke about the amount. He said, "What do you think?" Like I keep saying it. For me, 150 is the lowest, is the benchmark. But somebody will say, no, 150 is too small. I did not say that would be that is the starting point. This is what we negotiate. I was involved in a negotiation just 2 days ago. I took a stand on 200. I told the person, if you will employ this guy, it's 200 or not. I say, okay, we'll start with 150. After 3 months, then we can jack it up. After 4 months, we can raise it up. And this is where I stand. I believe that we would look into this. We'll begin to put our, I don't want to say our noses, into what these private people pay our members. And we'll begin to engage them and to let them know. I mean, 6 years plus X. And somebody comes out and you want to pay him 80,000. Not even the Nigeria of today. It does not work at all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Moses. For those of you earning below 150, please don't quickly go and submit your resignation. Relax first. Let's finish this whole thing, right? But that's just on a lighter mode. And I like the way you answered the question. Younger vets have strengths, they have weaknesses. Older vets have strengths, they have weaknesses. There's a concept called divide and rule. And that concept lashes on people's weaknesses and make them hate each other. So they fight each other until they are divided, right? We need to, as young vets, understand that there are things we cannot do all by ourselves. And as old vets, to also understand that there are things that you people cannot do on yourself, and shield our weaknesses and join force with our strength. And that's what Dr. Moses is saying, that by combining our strengths together, we can even become more stronger, rather than exposing each other's weaknesses, getting bitter, and pulling the profession apart. I think we feel a sense of fresh air, and we can only pray it continues. I will just ask 3 more questions. Our time is really fast spent, and we're done with this. So people are concerned about quackery. Abayomi, Dr. Abayomi Adeoye. My question is on the menace of intrusion of our profession by pharmacists and animal science people. How do you intend to fight this? Don't say we should work together. Well, I don't know what to answer, but all the best, Dr. Moses.
Well, what I intend to do is what I've already started doing as state chairman, Oyo. We would continue the fight. We would work with the task force of the council to make sure that the anti-quackery team is really going out there and doing what is the needful. We will not be afraid to back down. We will not simply. We will not. I mean, it started like a child's play in Oyo. I remember in 2016, there about 17. I had gone out with a friend, a colleague of mine. We went to lockdown premises because, I mean, we are not so happy with what we are seeing. So that brought the idea of the elders called us and like, okay, you young chaps, you are going to lock people's premises. I mean, what if you get arrested? And it almost did happen, you know. And that was what led to when I became secretary under the leadership of Dr. Ibrahim Adekunle. He was chairman then. We decided we would localize the law in Oyo State. And that was what led to the 2017 premises establishment regulation in law in Oyo State. You know, we started it, we fought so hard, we pushed and pushed, and by the time we were handing over, the next tenor just came in and it was out. So we will do the same. Now we have laws, today we have it all. I mean, we have things registered, things documented. So we will take the law, the government law, and we'll work across the state chapters, and we encourage the task force to move out and to do the needful. I mean, quackery is not simply going to be allowed. And this is why I said first quarter of next year, we are going to have an appointment of people across the 6 geopolitical zones. What these fellows or veterinarians, senior, junior, younger ones, if you like, are going to do is to be the voice and eyes of the ESCO. They will provide an oversight function for each of these zones to make sure that each state chapter has a team in place working with the council and making sure that the needful is done as far as quackery is concerned. I'm sure you know that we already have a couple of cases in court. Even the pet shop owners took us to court in Oyo State. So now we are pushing on that. We've gone for first hearing. The case has been adjourned to 24th of January. So I'm going to be working closely with the Oyo people, and then we are going to push that through. I am optimistic by the grace of God we are going to win. Now, when we win, what are we going to do? This 6-man committee, they are going to help cascade across the nation in their different states, quackery, as far as this is concerned. So this is my stand. So it's not what I'm going to do, is to continue what I have begun to do. What we will do now is make sure there's a synergy with the council and across the states. Not some states are implementing, fighting against quackery, while other states are not doing. We are going to make sure across the state, it's going to form a part of the reporting that we expect from our different chapters. Thank you.
Back end. Okay, right, good. I also know that you are now a member of the Veterinary Council Board, and we're very happy to have you. The president of the council has been doing an extensive work on this, and we have a few ideas. And working in synergy will also be a very good path to take. 2 more questions. I'm going to take Dr. Buka Usman's question. He said, first, what are your priorities? But again, let's leave that. I think what we should focus on is how do you handle substandard animal health products? I think, so I know Dr. Booker is a big man, retired from NAFDAC, and substandard animal health product is a huge challenge. What kind of advocacy are you going to lead? Because we're losing a lot because we are not able to trace how effective our products are. So what's your take? A quick answer, then we ask the last question, then we can take a bow.
I'm actually going to call Dr. Buka. I know the efforts he made in Nvma. So I'm going to be reaching out to him very shortly. We're already tinkering around this. We've had to make calls to a couple of persons already. And so I'm going to be reaching out to him very shortly, and we're going to find a way. I mean, it's not going to be by magic wand, or, you need to put a system in place. When a system is put in place with regards an issue, it begins to work itself, whether the person who initiated it is there or not. I believe this is what we need. The biggest problem we have in this country is not the laws, it's the implementation, not just the implementation, the monitoring. There is no regulation. The law is there, but nobody is enforcing it. So we are going to be that voice of advocacy. There has to be an enforcement. The reason why people get emboldened to do the things they do is because there's no enforcement. There's no monitoring. There's no enforcement. There's a law in place, but it's not implemented. It's not enforced, and then it's not being monitored. And that is why I say a system needs to be put in place. So the system works itself that ensures for enforcement, for implementation, enforcement, and then monitoring. This is the three cardinal points to solve this problem.
Fantastic. Dr. Moses, I'm going to ask a very funny last question before you give your final word. Right? I've been fortunate to host a national convention in 2019 in Kogi State. And luckily also, you hosted last year's convention and you were elected in this year's convention. Right? Our conventions have had ups and downs. Some people quarreled in the last convention because there was no food. And it was a hot topic. So we don't even know whether we should come to Congress for food or food should come to Congress for us. So I don't know. I don't know which one we should choose. But whichever way, some people were not happy. How do we maintain consistency? Not just consistency. Because these congresses are detached from each other. For God's sake, you had a level of success in Ibadan. Why don't we carry the lessons? Do we have to reinvent the wheel? We've been holding congresses for 58 or 59 years, and yet we still make basic mistakes like people expecting food and not seeing food. First of all, I want you to clear this idea. Somebody asked me that part of the registration we paid was food inside. So are we right to expect food in congresses? Then secondly, how do we improve and not detach each congresses from each other? You know, I was part of a WhatsApp platform and people were saying Kano is better, Kogi is bad, Lagos is worse, Oyo is better. You know, we are one. It's one Congress, one family. And if we accuse each other that way or that bitter, we are only pulling ourselves apart. Why don't we get better with each congresses and not own that one is bad and one is worse, or this person stole money, this person didn't steal money? So 2 questions in one. Should we expect food? Is it part of our registration? And how can we make congresses better? Thank you, Dr. Moses.
Okay, so what a way to end the session. But it's okay. You see, this sense of belonging and ownership is very important. I have been involved in supporting to raise funds as far back as 2011 from Ilorin. Ilorin was 2011, and then we went to Ekiti 2012. From 11, I began to support in raising funds directly, indirectly, across the years, except those times I was either not in the country or otherwise. So funds are very important. Whether we will expect a better Congress in the future, I can say yes. I'm very optimistic. We'll continue to scale up. I've heard people say the Lagos thing, it was a failure. I mean, a failure. Give us your yardsticks. You know, what is your measuring parameters for the failure? Yes, some things may not have gone the way we expected. But again, I mean, just like you said, why, we just condemn everything. We don't appreciate the fact that there was a group of people on the ground who are not paid, who were running day and night. I remember one of the days I was the one who went to get drink for the chairman, Lagos State, that slow down a bit, please relax, take this drink, himself and 2 of the colleagues. That was around 11 p.m. in the night because I didn't leave them alone. I joined also in raising funds for the Lagos Congress. So first of all is that ownership. Let's own our things together. Let this finger pointing thing has to stop. Yeah. The Congress is your Congress, it's my Congress. If something is not going well, you point it out and say, oh, I noticed that this thing is missing. Is it an oversight? Or what can I do to support? I make bold to say that from 2011 up to today, nobody paid me anything for saying, take your transport money for going from Kaduna to Abuja for raising funds. No, nobody can make bold to say they gave me money for that purpose. Yet I spent money to move around. Let us own this profession. This is the first thing I want to own this profession.
Yeah.
Strive to contribute. Now, is food part of it? How much did we pay? 20,000 for registration. Ordinarily, there's a certain amount that is supposed to be for the dinner and for the bags. I mean, if you want to get a solid bag, the bag we used in Oyo State, go to the market and go and price that bag. That bag is about 12,000 naira. We got it lesser because of wholesale. Now, out of 20,000, if we want a solid bag, how much do you think the LCOM, the LOC rather, will spend to get a bag? All these things are relative. Then what is left for food? Are we coming to Congress to eat? I will say yes, because we cannot also gather people together and not give something. But at the same time, we must recognize that what we are paying for the Congress is grossly inadequate. We want to compare ourselves to Nvma, the medics. Go and check what they pay for their congresses. So for me, in conclusion, it is deserving that as veterinarians, when we come, we should at least have something to put in our mouth. But at the same time, we must appreciate the fact that 20,000 naira is not enough to have everything that we want to have. So something needs to be done. And what needs to be done? We create visibility. When we become very, very visible, I suspect we will attract more funds and we will cry less. I want to also believe that if we pay our dues, maybe status quo will change. And that is why one of the things I'll do very early next year is I'm going to do something about our dues. I'm going to do something very national about our dues. Something needs to be done. We are how many of us going to 11,000? Why can't we have 100 million in our account out of annual dues? It's not rocket science. We will take a very proper decision with the voice of everybody represented. Like I said, all state chairmen will be involved in that decision. We will reach a consensus, and you will see a situation where a state wants to host, and then the leadership will say, we give you 20 million as our support. Are we collecting the money to keep it for something? But pay your annual dues, do what is needful, and let us see where we go from here. It's because there's no money. All this, no food, the summary is, the association is poor. That is the summary. And by the grace of God, we intend to change that. Thank you.
Dr. Moses, heartwarming, just hoping that you will not raise the Congress fee to 200,000. But again, come to think of it, if you raise it to 200,000, then we are going to come to all congresses with our swimming.
Just picture 100 people. Everybody paid their due. If everybody pays their due, you can even say, even if the Nigerian economic situation is so bad, you will say, okay, let's still pay the same 20,000. But the Congress, we have something, your money. You and I own the annual dues. So we can then do something. If we have 100 million, we want to keep it for what? We can say we inject X amount into the Congress that is bringing our people together to reason together to make for more progress. And then we have a sector, we need to build a secretariat. Accountability is very important, but I challenge everybody, please. Anyway, by next year, God keeping us, when we meet all the state chairmen, they will be your voice. We will take a decision about the annual. I want to believe that when people see a sense and have a sense of belonging, paying the annual due will not be a problem. I have paid for my practicing license up to 2024. I have paid my annual dues up to 2024. I believe in this profession, and this is where it starts. We must create such an enablement for people to believe that this is the association. When they believe, they will pay.
Absolutely phenomenal, right? People we most often say that what are they benefiting? But with this 1 hour conversation with you, we know we will benefit, so we will pay, right?
Amen to that.
And we also know that you will be accountable, right? You will not fly outside the country with our money. So, because having a sense of belonging, having a sense that value is being offered for the individual sacrifices we make, and having a sense that, I still have not forgotten that we are the president and you're there to serve us. Once we have that sense, then we can bring in our individual creativity. And together we can make the association what it ought to be. Do you have a final word? We've spent over an hour to pose ideas, to hear what you have to say, to ask you a few questions. If there's just one sentence you want us to keep in mind for the next 2 years, that once we remember Dr. Moses, this is the idea we want to always remember. What would that be, sir?
My final words will be, just know it at the back of your mind. It's time to rebrand the Nvma. Carry that in your mind. And when you sit down and you think about the association, please think of yourself. If I were the president, what will I do? And send me
Yeah.
that idea. I'm not saying that to make anybody feel it's not intended for any negative, there's no negative intention. I really mean every word of it. When you sit down and you think of Nvma, think yourself as the president. That one idea or two that came into your mind at the time you think Dr. Moses say, I am the president, I am running for presidency through him. That idea, that mind frame, that it will bet an idea. I need that idea from you. Those two, one idea, please send it to me. When you see yourself, if I'm the president, I'm going to run through this fellow. And then in the same vein, what do I need to support him? What kind of support would I need if I were the president? Please give me that support. And let us see if things will not change. Give me your idea if you were the president, and give me your support that you think you would have needed if you were the president. Give me these two things and hold me accountable after 2 years.
Whoa! First of all, if you're watching on our YouTube channel and you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, we have over 6,000 subscriptions. To be a very good time to do that, Parmalat, we are into the process of democratizing animal health, making it easily accessible. We have a platform where we serve agrovet stores across the country with inputs. You can call any of our service centers, distribution centers. We have 4 of them. We're expanding them as the time progresses. And please subscribe, join our community. But I want to re-emphasize what Dr. Moses finished with. And that's transformational because, Dr. Moses, I'm going to also steal this idea and bring it into our business. So just imagine everybody working in the business. First of all, think like, if I'm the CEO, will I take, people do eye service, people do a few things that is counterproductive. But if you're the CEO, you cannot steal from yourself, you cannot kill yourself. As the association, a member of the association, now president, as conferred to us by Honorable Dr. Moses, right? I've seen people criticize the leader of association. He will fail. Maybe I'm also part of it, but with this sermon or with this message, I've changed. No more criticism. If I am the president, what kind of support will I want to receive? And if I figure out that level of support, I need to give it. If I am the president, how well will I pay my dues? If you don't pay, you understand that you will not have anything to run the association. So because of that responsibility mindset, you will pay. And I'm not sure if there's any better way to close the meeting than to say, be the change you intend to see. And Dr. Moses, first of all, let me thank everybody who has joined. This is on our Facebook page. It's also going to be on our YouTube page. You can go back 2 years after. I want to hold this conversation and not ask you any question, Dr. Moses, and just keep clapping. For 1 hour, we'll just keep clapping. We will not ask you any question. We will just, I'll tell people to just keep clapping for an hour because you must have wowed us, leave a level of performance that the next person that will be coming after will just be wondering. But more importantly, you must have inspired a generation of young people that pick up leadership mantle. You know, prior to your coming up, nobody can convince me to be national president. Like, if I wake up and I dreamt that I was national president, I will sleep again until the dreams disappear. And when I wake up, I will ensure that I will shower for 1 year so that I can erase every memory that will ever happen. Why? Because we understand the responsibility an association leader will have. But if you do well, you don't run camps, you're able to excel in whatever it is that you have planned to do, then some of us could be inspired again to be that leader that will transform. Dr. Moses, we are super grateful, first of all, for accepting the responsibility and then for leading the path to a successful and a prosperous association. To every one of us who joined, I want to thank you for joining. My name is Kayode, and do have a wonderful afternoon. Dr. Moses, have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you for having me. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye.
Thank
Are you
you.
in Lagos,
Wonderful
Ibadan, Kaduna, Niger, or Abuja? Then this is for you. Formalat, in conjunction with Ashoka and Kasha, present a national-wide campaign on the antimicrobial resistance and the importance of clean and safe drinking waters on farms. Yes, the dates are Niger 18th of November, Lagos 21st of November, Ibadan 23rd of November, Kaduna 25th of November, and lastly Abuja 29th of November. So pick a date and make sure you're there. See you there. Bye bye.
When we talk of fishes and how to make them healthy, when we talk of ducks and pets all around and how to make them happy, all that comes to play is family. All that comes to mind is family. When we talk about to make a fun and how to make it grow, when we talk of everything, na family to know, na family to know, even as a family. My crops that know that we die. In education, we are big. Information, we are bad. Sensitization, we number one. Farm Alarm, providing health care for livestock owners and their livestock.